If you are trying to build an unconventional life, whether as a creator, a founder, or just someone refusing the standard 9 to 5, you are probably exhausted. You left the conventional path looking for freedom, but you brought along a mindset built on fear and obligation. We are conditioned to treat our careers like a courtroom. We grind, we punish ourselves, and we try to justify our choices, believing that serious, miserable suffering is the entry fee for success. Running your life on negative emotions and constant coercion leads to paralysis. In the short term, anxiety might force you to work late, but in the long run, it triggers deep procrastination and shuts down your decision-making. Those who last on unconventional paths often rely on a different set of resources. They maintain a sustainable internal environment, using positive emotional states to build the mental stamina required for the long term. Sustaining a bold path requires shifting how you engage with friction, turning the courtroom into a playground. There is a difference between doing something to avoid criticism and doing something because it fascinates you. High performers use curiosity as an engine, treating their daily work like an engaging game filled with side quests. Take physicist Richard Feynman. He did not make his breakthrough discoveries by chaining himself to a desk. He spent his time in a cafeteria, playing around with the physics of wobbling plates, because he found the math amusing. That playful side quest led directly to the theories that earned him the Nobel Prize in physics. Play is a biological strategy. Engaging with a task for the fun of it releases dopamine, which restores energy and makes the brain better at retaining information. You can trigger this feeling of agency by changing your internal script. When you tell yourself, "I have to do this," you become a victim of your schedule. Switching to "I choose to do this" reclaims autonomy over repetitive tasks. This chart illustrates the 5 whys method, a tool to find internal drive. You ask yourself why you want a specific goal, and then ask why to that answer 5 times over. The process peeling away layers of social noise and ego-driven metrics until you expose your core purpose. Joy, curiosity, and agency are the engines you need to keep moving when external rewards vanish. The unconventional path eventually hits a wall of failure. Looking at that wall, it's tempting to wait until you feel ready before you act. Waiting for fear to vanish is a trap. People who project authority were not born with a surplus of bravery. Confidence is a skill built through small wins and kept promises. If you feel paralyzed to take action, you can borrow the confidence of an alter ego. This is the Batman effect. By adopting a capable character for a high-stakes moment, you bypass your own insecurities and step into the arena as the version of yourself that has already won. Once you act, you have to protect yourself when things go wrong. Engineer Mark Rober found success is more likely when you stop viewing failure as a penalty and start viewing it as a neutral data point. Rober spent years designing hardware for NASA. In mission control, errors are not character flaws. They are measurements needed to solve engineering problems. Look at this scatter plot. Building a career follows this geometry. A rejected pitch or a bad launch is a red data point that draws a boundary, showing you where to guide a successful trajectory. You can collect this data before failing using a pre-mortem. Imagine your project collapsed. Identify why. By predicting self-sabotage, you adjust and safely route around obstacles. By removing your ego from the failure and putting on an alter ego to generate courage, you turn terrifying risks into a system of data collection. It is often tempting to romanticize isolation. We think being self-made means proving our worth entirely alone, but isolation starves your work. The musician Brian Eno popularized a concept called scenius. Great work rarely comes from a lone genius in a vacuum. It emerges from a fertile scene. You need a community of peers who push each other's standards higher, bypassing zero-sum competition. The only thing keeping you from finding that scene is the spotlight effect. We delay our lives because we assume an audience is tracking our mistakes and awkward pivots. The truth is that most people are preoccupied with their own insecurities. Realizing that nobody is actually watching allows you to step off the predictable pavement and start making experimental attempts in the wild. You do not need the performance of seriousness to do meaningful work. You just need to show up honestly and embrace genuine sincerity. A self-made life does not mean you never fail or have perfect clarity. It means you stop waiting for permission, take responsibility for your own trajectory, and finally start building.